23 degrees here at Oriole Park, and the Blue Jays are in town, the first of 7 on this road trip. John Gibbons Ball Club had a good homestand. They went 4-2 against the Yankees and the Boston Red Sox. They swung the bats well. They pitched very well. The starters won all 4 decisions in that 4-2 homestand. Take a look at the lineup for the Blue Jays. Devin Travis continues to hit in the leadoff spot. Josh Donaldson's number 2. Russell Martin against Jimenez is 9 for 34 with 5 RBIs, and right behind him, over his last 12 games, Double E, Edwin Encarnacion has gone 356 with 10 RBIs over those 12 games. So these two in the 3 and 4 spots heating up right now.
It's May, and that is the month for Edwin Encarnacion. Remember the great May he had last year. This is Ubaldo Jimenez. He takes the ball for the series opener. Last time Jimenez was on the mound, he was the O starter in that empty stadium game versus the Chicago White Sox. He gave up 2 unearned runs in 7 very strong innings. There are his numbers this year, 2-2 with a 236 earned run average. Last time out, he had his shortest outing of the season, not counting the one where he got ejected after hitting Pablo Sandoval. He said, I did not have any feel for my breaking ball. The Blue Jays are hoping the same thing is tonight.
Well, the Orioles defense is down a bit this season. They've committed 19 errors, but they're starting to get some of their players back. In the outfield, it's Steve Pearce, the Gold Glover, Adam Jones in center, and Delman Young in right. Key to their defense is the shortstop, J.J. Hardy. He is back in the lineup at short. Machado and Flaherty and Davis round out the infield, and Caleb Joseph is the catcher.
You know, you talk about they're starting to get better. 19 errors in 29 games, and they welcome back J.J. Hardy. This is his 5th game of the season. He's won 3 consecutive Gold Glove. Buck Showalter very excited to have Hardy back in the lineup.
Devin Travis hitting in the leadoff spot, takes the first pitch strike, and we are underway. Travis is batting .288 on the season, and he has taken a bit of a hit since he's had to hit leadoff. For whatever reason, his average has dropped, but hitting in the leadoff spot, Travis has hit just .175.
You know what he has to do is just take his time. Okay, the pitchers, they know a little something about you now. They're trying to jam that ball away from him, so he's just got to make the adjustment along with these pitchers.
That's the biggest thing about a youngster who got off to a great start. He was the American League Rookie Player of the Month for April, and he created a lot of attention in his direction.
What did they say when he was batting 9th? They said, okay, let's see if you can hit a major league fastball. Well, that lasted about 4 weeks in the month of April. He was outstanding. Now the pitchers are starting to throw more breaking balls. They're trying to get him to reach for balls out of the strike zone. Good job there.
Laying off that pitch away. It's 2-2. Ubaldo Jimenez, 7 innings of 1-hit ball the last time the Blue Jays faced him. That was in April, his first start of the season. He was great. There's that splitter and the first strikeout of the night.
That splitter is dangerous when he can get it over, and he's very happy to be home here where he is undefeated. You can see that last 2 starts at home, 14 innings, no earned runs, 2 walks, 14 strikeouts. Over his last 5 starts, a ridiculous 136 earned run average, also being undefeated here at home. He loves pitching in this ballpark.
He's the only Oriole pitcher to beat the Blue Jays this season. The Jays have won 5 of their 6 meetings so far. This is Josh Donaldson. Donaldson hasn't had a whole lot of luck against Jimenez. He's just 1 for 12.
Yeah, he's got a lot of movement on his fastball tonight. 91 miles an hour. That one looked like it was coming right down the middle of the plate. Saw how Caleb Joseph caught it. Really handcuffed him.
Ball on his strike to Donaldson. Off the plate. That's one thing the Blue Jays have seen a steady diet of, that pitch down and away. Pitchers have really focused on that down and away pitch.
You mentioned the one hitter that he had against the Blue Jays earlier this season. He was dotting that outside corner. As Brooke Jacoby calls it, he was threading the needle with that fastball on the outside part of the plate the whole game.
Another strikeout. Jimenez had 1 strikeout in his start last time out. He's already racked up a pair.
First one on the splitter. This time he's going to go upstairs with another fastball. It's at 91, 92 miles an hour, which is about 4 or 5 miles per hour slower than he used to throw, but he's got control. One thing you really want to concentrate on when you watch Jimenez tonight, what does that back shoulder do? If it stays up, you know he's getting on top of that ball and driving it towards home.
Russell Martin batting third tonight in the absence of Jose Bautista. Martin's hit .265 for his career against Jimenez, and obviously they both spent a lot of time in the National League. Breaking ball just missed. It's a ball and a strike.
He's got so many toys that he can play with, doesn't he, Jimenez? When he can throw them all for strikes, that's when he becomes very dangerous.
He's a catcher's dream in that regard. You see, once again, they're focusing down and away to Martin. Russell's batting third. This is the 95th time in his career he's hit third. And he's got the best batting average of his career while he bats third. Well, that's a good breaking ball. And look at the location.
Yeah, look at all of those pitches from Jimenez against Martin. Down and away with the fastball. Down and away with the slider. This is how he looked at that game back in April. Blue Jays are going to have to get up on top of that plate. Look for it out there.
Well, so Martin, using that two-strike approach, protects that outside corner. Russell had a terrific homestand. He was one of the 4 offensive players that really had a lot of success. He hit .588, 10 for 17 in the 5 games he played during that 6-game homestand. He didn't play with Dickey, of course.
And clutch hits, too. Big hits for the Blue Jays.
Strike 3 call. Martin didn't like the call. Jimenez strikes out the side in the first. He looks zeroed in once again. The Blue Jays have seen this act before. Jimenez, that fastball down and away for strike 3. Lineup for Buck Showalter, and that is not a mistake. Manny Machado is indeed leading off, and Jimmy Paredes batting second. He's the DH, the switch hitter, and he's red hot. He's got a 9-game hit streak, 12 for 37 with 6 RBIs. He is really an aggressive free swinger. And then down in the 6th spot, it's the left fielder, Steve Pearce. He's got good numbers against Estrada. Pearce is off to a slow start after having a career season a year ago. He's batting just 179, but he has hit well against Estrada in the past.
Marco Estrada is coming off his first start of the season. That was against the New York Yankees last time out. He began the season in the bullpen. And really, he is just still transitioning to that rotation. He allowed 4 earned runs in that first start. Just 4 2/3 innings for Marco. Still getting stretched out. He's limited to around 90 pitches tonight as they stretch him out and put him in that starting rotation.
Estrada pitched an inning here early in the season. He gave up a home run to Jonathan Scope, but that was it. This is Manny Machado. He has been leading off. This is his 8th game in the top spot in the order. He takes strike 1. Buck Showalter came over for a little advice to his leadoff man, Manny Machado. That was interesting. Hey, Manny, get a hit.
Hit it like I used to hit it. You know?
You actually saw Buck. He was a pretty good hitter.
He was a very good hitter. The slasher. That's what we used to call him, as he'd slash the ball all over the ballpark.
That's a new wrinkle you're going to see from Estrada. That's a cut fastball. He incorporated that pitch, feeling that it might serve him well down and away to righties and inside to lefties.
And keep it. That's right. That's the main thing right there. That's a changeup right there. That he incorporated that changeup, or excuse me, that cutter against the left-handers to make the changeup that much more effective versus the left-handed hitters.
Estrada always peeks over the top of his glove to get the sign. There's a changeup in the dirt.
One of the reasons why they moved Manny Machado to that leadoff spot. He's got a .345 on base percentage. He also has 13 walks, which leads the club in walks, and that's something that the Orioles don't do a lot of. They get up there and they are hacking away.
Jimmy Paredes is on deck. It's a 3-2 count and driven to right and deep. This ball is up and over the wall. Hits the top of that shed in right and goes out of the ballpark. Manny Machado with his second home run as a leadoff hitter. His 6th overall, and just like that, the Orioles have a 1-0 lead.
You know he didn't want to walk him, so he was going to challenge him. Leadoff batter of the inning. Machado worked the count to 3-2. He's looking fastball, and it looks like he got a fastball up and out over the plate. And you can see the type of power that Manny Machado possesses. Deep to right field, 1-0.
Well, Machado is a very dangerous hitter, and now that he is healthy again, he looks like he has recaptured the form we saw when he first came to the big leagues. This is Jimmy Paredes, where he has been a revelation for the Orioles. 18 games, he's hit .355. And he is a free swinger.
Free swinger. He gets up there, first pitch he sees, he's letting it go. He's very relaxed at the plate. He's got great hands. And one of the things he's doing a little bit better now in the month of May than he did in April is hitting the breaking ball better.
The ball is inside and he pulls it foul. Talk about free swingers. This is the highest swing percentage in the major leagues. Carlos Gomez, we all know that he loves to swing it. Osvaldo Arcia of the Twins, and then Jimmy Paredes, 60.2. He's going to swing that.
Just get it close. You don't have to pinpoint every pitch to try and get him out. I love that attitude when you're at the plate, when you've got that aggressive approach at the plate. Even pitches that are off the strike zone, you can hit and hit hard.
Well, there's a good changeup. Estrada strikes out Paredes.
Take a look at the scouting report for Marco Estrada in his last start. That was against the New York Yankees. He used his fastball 53% of the time. The changeup, you can see he really uses that a lot. 30% of the time, and it's 80 miles an hour, a good 10 miles per hour slower than that fastball. He's also got the breaking ball, the curveball, and the cutter muff that you were just talking about. He's using that last pitch that he struck out Paredes. He struck him out with a changeup, but it was set up by that good cutter inside.
This is the leading hitter in the American League, Adam Jones, and he takes one upstairs. Looked like a strike to me.
It was a strike last inning.
Dan Bellino is the home plate umpire. This is Jones. We mentioned he leads the American League with a .360 batting average. There's a high fly ball to left. Guerrero over near the foul line, and that's back out of play into the fans. Adam Jones got off to a red-hot start. He was over .400 for most of the month of April. He's cooled off a bit, but he still leads Nelson Cruz and Jacoby Ellsbury.
He's still hitting the ball hard, too. He's just not finding the holes right now. .360 for Adam Jones. 22 RBIs. He has turned into one of the best, if not the best, center fielder in the American League.
He might be one of the best overall players in the American League, as his ability to run the bases, defend. As you mentioned, he's a 4-time Gold Glover. And he's worn out the Blue Jays. 11 for 21 so far this season. There's a good pitch. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Jones, the free hitter against Estrada. Marco gave up 2 runs in the first last time out against the Yankees. Alex Rodriguez with a 2-run double in the first. He's got to make hitters aware of that inside corner, like he just did to Jones, to set up that cutter and the changeup.
That one looked like a changeup right there, and he's not afraid to throw the changeup. A right-handed pitcher like Estrada is to a right-handed batter, just to speed that bat up just a little bit. Now you can go upstairs if you want to, or you can go back in there with a fastball.
Well, he went upstairs and got a very tentative swing from Jones.
It's a good compliment, the changeup and his fastball. When you throw it 80 miles an hour, and he throws it with great arm action. The hitter thinks it's a fastball, and then you throw the fastball behind that. Instead of 90 miles an hour, it'll look 95.
Curveball bounced in the dirt. Adam Jones is very, very tough with 2 strikes. He has the ability to cut down his swing. And when you really watch him, he has changed his approach dramatically once he gets to 2 strikes. Covers that outside pitch, pulls it on the ground to short. 2 down.
Championship-winning Honda CRF 450R for those who dare to ride red.
The inner harbor of Baltimore, just a few blocks from this beautiful ballpark, Oriole Park in Camden Yards. It's a spectacular night, 23 degrees at the start of this game. This is Delman Young. He's in right field tonight. Look at it. He's trying to straighten him up with that heater.
That's an important pitch. You mentioned the inside corner with Adam Jones at the plate. I think right-handers, they'll start leaking out over the plate and leaning out there trying to take that breaking ball or that pitch away from him. You've got to stand him up. You got to pitch inside.
Of course, there is a lot of tension between these 2 ball clubs given the history over the past couple of years. It goes back to Caleb Joseph and Marcus Stroman, and John Gibbons downplays it, and I would too. I think it's a thing of the past. I think both managers want these 2 teams just to play baseball. There's another changeup. Boy, back-to-back changeups, and that's a pretty good indication. Bautista's not in the lineup tonight. Combination of factors. His shoulder's still bothering. He hasn't hit well against Jimenez, and Justin Smoak needs to get in a bat or 2. It's a high chopped ball. That is a foul ball.
You know, Gibby was asked about that today in a scrum with the media about the tensions that were running high between these 2 ball clubs. And he said, you know what? And I think he was being very honest. He goes, seriously, I've forgotten all about it. It was, what, a couple of weeks ago? And players, you play every day. You're playing different cities against different ball teams and all that. You forget about what happened a couple of weeks ago, and you're just concentrating on tonight's ball game.
April 21st is the game when Bautista hurt his arm, and they had all the yapping back and forth across the diamond. Adam Jones and Bautista got into it as Jose went to his position in right. But you're right, it's quite a while ago. A lot of water has gone under the bridge since, but if something happens, I'm sure it wouldn't take much to spark it again. 2-2 to Delman Young. That's bounced in the dirt. Marco Estrada, we mentioned his last start was against the Yankees. His big mistake was starting against Michael Pineda.
Yeah.
Pineda went 8 innings and held the Blue Jays to 5 hits and shut him out over 8 innings. It was 6-0 when Pineda left. And then the Orioles, they got a dose of Michael Pineda in New York yesterday.
How about that? 16 strikeouts by Pineda, 18 strikeouts by the Yankee pitching staff.
3-2. Foul back. Yeah, the 18 strikeouts of the Orioles batters, a career record, a franchise record against Baltimore. It's the most strikeouts they've ever suffered in a 9-inning game.
Think about what Pineda did. He got 21 outs, 16 of them by strikeouts. We haven't heard those kind of numbers since Little League.
Ball 4 up and away. Young will take first base, a 2-out walk, and that'll bring to the plate the ever dangerous Chris Davis. And you mentioned Pineda's effort. It's an interesting number. 16 of the 27 batters he faced, he struck out. That's the highest percentage, 59.3, for any major league pitcher in a game pitching 7 innings or more since Johan Santana. And Santana struck out 17 of 26.
Well, I guess that in the game yesterday.
There's a deep drive, and Chris Davis takes advantage of that 2-out walk. 2 home runs against Estrada in this first inning. Chris Davis, number 8.
Wow, he didn't waste any time, did he? Looked like Marco tried to pump the fastball by him. And Chris Davis, who always seems to hit a lot of home runs against the Blue Jays, does it again, a no-doubter to right field. He didn't make it out on the Utah Street. Watch where this pitch is. 4-seamer, fastball right into his power zone. And he almost gets it on the Utah Street.
For Davis, that's his 26th career home run against the Blue Jays, his 2nd against them this season. He hit one against Aaron Sanchez here in April when the Blue Jays were in Baltimore. This is Steve Pearce. The Orioles led the American League in home runs last year and are on pace to challenge for that title again this year. Houston and the Blue Jays go down to Houston next after this Orioles series. They lead with 45.
What do those numbers tell you? You better get the ball down. You're playing in 2 ballparks on this road trip that give up a lot of home runs. Camden Yards and then down in Houston. You better keep it down.
Ground ball. Travis was shaded up the middle. The inning is over, but the Orioles and those potent bats come through again. A 3-2 fastball to Machado. A first pitch fastball to Davis. Baltimore leads it 3-0.
Presented by the 2015 Honda CR-V, Motor Trend's 2015 Sport Utility of the Year.
Babe Ruth grew up in Baltimore, and he is honored here. There's a Babe Ruth Museum just outside the ballpark. This is Edwin Encarnacion, the cleanup man, serving as the DH. He's hit .356 over his last 12 games. He got his average up to .242.
The weather's starting to warm up, and Edwin is starting to warm up.
He had a terrific month of May last year. He had 16 home runs in the month of May.
Said he was just missing his pitch. That was the problem he felt in the month of April. He's getting his pitch, and he was just missing it. Josh Donaldson, remember, he said the same thing. when he was scuffling at the beginning of the season. He turned it around and putting up some big numbers now.
Boy, he is zeroed in on that outside corner. Blue Jays, what can they do to counteract that kind of approach?
I think they looked at the tape when Jimenez faced him earlier this year, and they noticed he was pounding him away, so they're going to get up on top of that plate. But when you paint like that, that's tough. You want to get a little bit closer to the plate. So when that pitch starts coming into the outside part of the plate like that, for you as a hitter, it looks like it's right down the middle. I think you've got to take what Jimenez is going to give you. If the ball's away, slap it the other way.
And there's a leadoff walk. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Well, Tampa Bay is hanging in there despite all those injuries to their pitching staff, and Alex Rodriguez has been a surprise for the Yankees. He's performed a lot better.
Comeback player of the year. He's got my vote right now in Tampa with their pitchers. They got some bad news over the weekend.
They lost Drew Smyly to a torn labrum in his shoulder. He'll be out for the season just after they found out that Alex Cobb has to have Tommy John. Doesn't get much worse than that. This is Justin Smoke. He had a home run against Jimenez in his last time he faced him. Got a chance to see him and hit a home run. He hasn't played a lot lately because Bautista's had the DH.
And that's tough to sit for a little bit, get a spot start here and there or a pinch hit here and there, and then come back and sit down for 4 or 5 days. He's done a pretty good job, though, I think, for the inconsistent playing time that he's got. 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, and a very few amount of at-bats, just 43.
Smoke hit an opposite field 2-run home run against Jimenez, and this is going to be short hop. Nothing Encarnacion could do. He had to make sure it wasn't caught on the line, and that's an easy double play for the Orioles. Flaherty, the second baseman, just held his ground and played the short hop. Encarnacion had to stop to make sure it wasn't caught on the line.
Yeah, it smothered it. Watch how he gets over that ball and smothers that topped line drive. That's Manny Machado in the middle of the diamond to turn it over.
So that is a 4-5-3 double play. Not as rare as it once was with all these defensive shifts. This is Chris Colabello.
Boy, that's an effective pitch. Did you see the miles per hour on that fastball? Just 89 miles an hour. But it's in a good place and it's coming back. As a hitter, you see that ball outside and it starts ricocheting back over the outside corner.
He's ahead. Boy, he's throwing a lot of strikes early on. Last year, their $50 million investment didn't look so good. Now it's starting to look like a pretty good deal.
Yeah, very good deal. Last season, it's all about walks for him. Last year, 5.5 walks per 9 innings for Jimenez. He has shaved two walks per 9 innings off of that. And that's a career low.
0-2. Colabello continues to wear out pitching. That's his 11th hit since he's joined the Blue Jays, and he takes an 0-2 pitch over the glove of the second baseman into right.
2 strikes, you're just hoping something comes up there that you can get a hold of, and that's a belt-high fastball. Mistake. Jimenez was going to try and sneak one by him, but Chris Colabello was all over it.
He's 11 for 19 since he was called up from AAA Buffalo. Chris Davis saying, "Where you been all your life, kid? You can hit." This is Kevin Pillar. Kevin had a rough homestand. His average down to 252. Kevin had just 3 hits in 22 at-bats in 6 games at Rogers Center. I can tell you Colabello has a stolen base, his first career stolen base, but he's not going to run.
No. He's got a very short lead over there at first base, and you're down by 3 runs. He's not going anywhere.
That's interesting watching the turnaround for Jimenez. Last year he went 6-9. His ERA was 4.81. This year his ERA at 2.36. And you mentioned how he has trimmed the walks dramatically. Breaking ball, line to left. Pierce is there, and Pilar hitting in some tough luck. Hit it hard right at the left fielder. Blue Jays get a walk and a single, but they leave a base run. 3-0 Orioles.
Season game live or on demand in true HD. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and much more. It also includes a free At Bat 15 subscription. Watch baseball at home, at the office, or on the go. Season-long subscription packages are available. Visit BlueJays.com for more details, and you can also get a look at yet another A-Rod home run, which you were talking about, Buck.
Absolutely. A-Rod is really starting off great for the Yankees. For Rodriguez, that's his 8th home run. It came in the first inning off Alex Colomé down in St. Petersburg. This is J.J. Hardy. Hardy just back off the disabled list. He injured his shoulder colliding with Jonathan Scope in the infield during spring training. It didn't appear to be that serious, but he's only played in 5 games. Been out a long time.
You were talking about that Pineda strikeout game yesterday. He's the only guy who didn't strike out.
Yeah, how about that?
Guy sits out all of April and the beginning of May, comes back and doesn't strike out against a guy who was pouring it in there yesterday.
He hit a home run off of Pineda and actually gave the Orioles the lead. When you look up and down the order, well, 16 strikeouts, you're going to get just about everybody, but J.J. Hardy did not punch out against Pineda. High fastball foul back. 3-0. The Orioles lead it. They had a couple of home runs in there after the first. Manny Machado his 6th, and Chris Davis hit his 8th. Off speed pitch popped up. Ryan Goins, the shortstop, on the edge of the outfield grass. 1 down. Marco settled in against the Yankees after giving up 2 runs in the first in his last start. And now it's just a matter of trying to hold the Orioles down and see if he can't allow the offense to come back in this ball game. He gave up 2 in the first, 1 in the second.
You know what I think, Buck, he's going to have to do tonight against these Oriole batters? I think his breaking ball, his curveball, I think it's got to play. He's got to be able to throw that for strikes. That third pitch right now, it's just been fastball changeup, and they're just sitting back and discounting the off-speed pitch, the curveball. If he can throw that over for strike, mix in a couple of cutters here and there, and then pitch backwards. In fastball counts, throw changeup, and breaking ball counts, use his fastball and place it, he'll have success against the Orioles.
Marco's numbers since the beginning of 2014 are much better pitching out of the bullpen than they have been starting, but certainly Blue Jays want to give him an opportunity to see if he can't recapture the form he had at times for the Brewers. That's a good fastball right at the knees on the inside corner. 2 down. Let's check out the defense for the Blue Jays. It's Carrera, Pilar, and Chris Colabello. Colabello is much more comfortable in right. This is his 29th career start in right. Donaldson, Goins, Travis, and Justin Smoke. Smoke starting for the 13th time at first. And Russell Martin behind the plate for Estrada. This is the catcher, Caleb Joseph.
You know, Buck Showalter has put 6 right-handed batters in the lineup tonight to combat that changeup. So they've got Carrera, the better defender, in left field, assuming that these right-handed batters are going to pull the ball against Estrada. 6 right-handed batters, just 3 left-handed batters on the bench for the Baltimore Orioles. He wants to have that better defensive player in left field tonight. That is the first start in left field for Carrera this season.
Yeah, he's a much better outfielder. Of course, Colabello is basically a first baseman and a DH type, but he has played right field with the Twins. 2-1 to Caleb Joseph. Now it's even at 2-2. Joseph's done a good job filling in for Matt Wieters. He did the same last year when Wieters had Tommy John surgery. He's batting .299 at the start of this game. Russell Martin knows he's got to move the ball around, in and out, trying to neutralize some of these bats, and some of them have been red hot. Change up, pulled foul. Even that change up there, he was on it pretty good. It wasn't like he was fooled by it. He was just out in front. So that's why Martin's trying to emphasize that inside fastball.
Pitching backwards. Fastball counts, throwing off speed pitch.
And with the changeup, and he walks the number 9 hitter. 2-out walk cost him in the first inning when he walked Delman Young. And then Chris Davis on the next pitch hit a 2-run homer. Manny Machado has already homered tonight.
That's a big total. 34 pitches in the first inning for Marco Estrada. He's already at 50. He can't go much further past 90 as they stretch him out, transitioning him from the bullpen to the starting rotation. So this might be a chance for the bullpen to hold him down tonight.
Two and 0. Both those pitches away. First one appeared to be a cutter. Second one a breaking ball. And it's 2-0. Now 3-0. You still got to be careful. This is a small ballpark, and you got a powerful hitter at the plate. So you still have to locate a pitch on a 3-0 pitch.
He's got the green light. You got to figure he's going to be swinging 3-0. They've already hit 2 home runs tonight.
This is a fly ball to right. Chris Colabello focused on it in the twilight here in Baltimore. The inning is over. 2-out walk doesn't hurt. We'll move to the third. Baltimore leads at 3-0. when the Orioles played in front of an empty stadium because the fans were kept out because of the civil unrest. And for more on that atmosphere, let's check in with Barry Davis.
Buck, the last time the Orioles played here at Camden Yards on April 29th, one of the few ways for fans to actually see the game here live was to stand outside these gates and try to get a view of the ballpark. And as you can see, it's not the greatest view at all. However, I spoke to Travis Snyder today, and he said during that game they could hear the fans throughout the entire game. In fact, it was so quiet in Camden Yards, they could hear play-by-play man Gary Thorne calling parts of the game. He says you don't realize just how important the fans are to a game until you play one in front of a completely empty stadium. Buck?
Barry, it was a very weird atmosphere for sure, and you could hear players across the diamond holding on conversations in the dugout, and a couple of the Orioles players told me you had to be careful what you said because everybody could hear everything.
Yeah, the umpires could hear it. You sit on the bench and you might say something to the umpire under your breath. Well, they could hear it. Orioles really got hammered in that 3-game series also. They lose 4 gates. Think about that. The game where nobody was allowed to come in, the 3 games that were moved to Tampa, and they have now a doubleheader on an off day, and it affects the Blue Jays, believe it or not.
Yeah, they moved the Blue Jays game against the White Sox from a night game to a day game on May 26th. So they have a 27th date here, a doubleheader with the Orioles in an effort to make up those 2 games.
Yeah, the Blue Jays' last game of that homestand after this road trip against the White Sox was a night game. It's going to be a day game now.
Ezequiel Carrera fouls it back. 2-2. Let's take a look at what the ballpark looked like on April 29th. That's Utah Street outside the right field fence, and the stadium was totally empty. And it was an odd atmosphere. Caleb Joseph mimicking the fact that he was signing autographs, and the lineups were posted in the press box. The writers were here, broadcasters were here, but there were no fans, and it was posted as 0 attendance. Guerrero leading off here in the 3rd, pokes it to left. Pierce was shallow and makes the catch. 1 down. Well, the Orioles have gotten off to a slow start because of their pitching, but when you look at what Jimenez has done, he's been the stabilizing force so far. This has been a pretty good pitching staff the last couple of years, and they won the division last year based on the strength of their pitching and defense. Gonzalez, Tillman, Chen, Norris, and Jimenez were all solid, and all 4 of the starters outside of Jimenez had an ERA under 4. Oh, Ryan Flaherty, you can see he's hurt. He had a groin injury, and he didn't get a very good jump on it, and I think he re-aggravated that injury.
Those quick stops and starts, I think you're absolutely right. He couldn't even bend over to make that play. Normally a very good fielder. Watch Flaherty on the right of your screen there at second base. The ball's up the middle, and he feels something there, and look, he just can't bend over to get it. He limps off. After that ball went out into center field, you could see it. He is struggling right now.
Yeah, he's just been activated, and he played 3 rehab games in AA Bowie, but he was reinstated just 2 days ago, and this doesn't look good for Flaherty or the Orioles. Richie Bancels, the longtime trainer, along with the manager Buck Showalter.
They have had their share of injuries also. Jonathan Scope was their regular second baseman. He was on the disabled list with a knee injury. Edward Cabrera is down also, and now it looks like Ryan Flaherty, another second baseman, is going to have to take it off the field.
You cannot play if you're hurt, and Flaherty tried to go out there, and obviously he's going to have to succumb to the injury. And it looks like Steve Pierce is going to come in from left field and take a position on the infield. They don't have Everett Cabrera because he's on a disabled list with a bad toe. And now Pierce is going to go to second base. Flaherty obviously very disappointed having to leave this game because of an injury.
They don't have, at least the lineup I have, a backup infielder on their roster.
They're sending Cabrera out. He was taking infield today. Everett Cabrera has got that injury. So Pierce has to come in. He's played first base. So he has to come in and play second base with the injury to Flaherty. And boy, oh boy, the Orioles have been hurt once again because of injuries.
Normally that's a play that Flaherty makes, but you can tell he went after it. It was very slow to react to that ball. I think it was his initial push to go get the baseball. So Flaherty's out. David Lowe will take over in left field.
Steve Pearce has actually played 5 games at second base, and he has played second, first, third, and he's played left and right. So he has been there before, but only 5 games, and that has been this season. So he is back at second base as David Lowe comes off the bench and takes over for Pearce in left field. But it's really hard on managers now because of the way your pitching staff is put together. Everybody has to carry 7, sometimes 8 pitchers.
Relievers,
absolutely. And when you do that, you're going to be 4 or 3 on the bench, and it's just so restrictive. That's why the two-way players, the guy that can play the infield and the outfield, are so valuable. And a guy like Ben Zobrist, who plays everywhere, Sean Rodriguez, those guys are invaluable. So Devin Travis hits the ball on the ground. Wouldn't you know it, right to Pearce. He gets a chance right away and starts a double play. Steve Pearce comes in from left field and starts the double play. Flips to Hardy in the inning.
CRV, Motor Trend's 2015 Sport Utility of the Year.
Baltimore, Maryland. It is a much quieter Baltimore, Maryland, than when the Orioles were here the last time. Of course, they had the riots and civil disobedience that led to the cancellation of their series with the White Sox, and they have to make up that game later on this month. But fans are out trying to support the city and make everybody understand that there's a lot more good things going on here in Baltimore than bad. Bottom of the 3rd inning. This is Jimmy Paredes. He struck out in the 1st. Marco Estrada trailing 3-0. He's allowed just 2 hits, but both of those were in the 1st inning, and they were both home runs.
He's going to have some short innings here to stretch this out, or the bullpen's going to take its toll tonight.
Paredes, we mentioned he's a free swinger. He chased that changeup. It's now ball on the strike.
Matters hitting just 192 off of that changeup this season for Marco. So if you can't hit it, keep throwing it.
There's a bunt, man. That's going to be a beauty. No chance. Donaldson, his throw was late. Paredes starts it off with the base hit.
He has had some very good at-bats over the last couple of years versus the Blue Jays. There's that four-seam fastball. He notices that Josh Donaldson was very deep at third base, and he just lays that ball down. It dies in the grass, and he's got an infield hit.
Leadoff man's aboard. That'll bring Adam Jones to the plate. Jones grounded out to shortstop his first time up. Goes after the first pitch. Donaldson to second for one. Back to first. Offline and wide at first. Paredes really bearing down on Devin Travis at second, and Travis threw wide of the mark at first.
The Orioles are a professional team. When you watch them play the game of baseball, they're very professional. And one of the things they do well is they break up double plays. Paredes goes hard right into the bag. It stays high enough that Travis has to throw around him. And that throw pulls Justin Smoak off the bag. They just play the game the right way.
Yeah, they do. And Buck Showalter insists on it, and Adam Jones backs him up on every word. Delman Young, the cleanup man.
Tell you what, if you don't play the game the right way here, you're not here very long.
And the players will talk about you.
He demands it from his players.
Well,
if you don't do it, see ya.
We saw it earlier with Everett Cabrera, the shortstop, who didn't cover the second base the way Buck wanted him to. So the next day they were out working on it. Same happened with Travis Snyder.
Travis was telling us earlier this year that on an extra base hit, he as a corner outfielder got to come in and cover second base. He didn't, and he got called into the office, if you will. And he was told, you got to get in there. You got to get in there and back up second base.
Jones hasn't run much yet. He's just 0 for 1, but he is capable of stealing bases. Buck Showalter, that's his bench coach, John Russell, former manager himself.
They are trying to pound Delman Young. He had a great at-bat last time. A 10-pitch at-bat in the first inning to prolong the first inning. 10-pitch at-bat with 2 outs. And wouldn't you know it, the next batter hits the first pitch he sees after that 10-pitch at-bat. Chris Davis hits it out.
Good job by Martin to smother that ball in the dirt. The Orioles, they're all about winning. You know, they got off to a tough start last year as well. They were 27-27 at the end of May, just 500. They ended up winning 96 games and won the division for the first time since 1997. Well, that's a good changeup. He strikes out Delman Young. That's 3 strikeouts so far for Marco Estrada.
2 of them on changeups, 1 on a fastball. How he digs that ball deep into the palm. If you've got it in your fingers and your palm like that, and you just throw it as hard as you can, the ball's going to be a changeup. And he's got a good one.
Pitchers really search long and hard to come up with the proper grip for a changeup, and Estrada has refined it perfectly. This is Chris Davis. He had a 2-run homer in his first at bat on the first pitch he saw.
You know, there's not one way to throw a changeup. It's whatever feels good. A lot of times you'll see the circle change where they take the index finger and the thumb and then roll it off the fingertips. You've got the 3-finger changeup where your index finger, middle finger, and ring finger will throw the ball towards home. You've got the split change.
All different variations, yeah. And it just, however you can take the velocity off the baseball, that's what you're trying to do.
And still throw strikes. You have to be able to command it. You know, some people can command it throwing it one way. Some people can command it throwing it the other way.
Davis is behind 1-2. He is a very good opposite field home run hitter. He's got power to all parts, and he pulled the first home run tonight. Jones was running, and the ball is fouled off.
They were guessing changeup one more time. That was 3 in a row to Chris Davis, and they guessed right. Jones took off on the first move by Estrada.
Why is it good to run on a changeup?
You got more time, right? It takes a little bit longer for that ball to get towards home plate. And with 2 strikes, the ball was a little bit too close for Chris Davis to take, so he had to swing away. One more.
Jones not running. That's lined into right field, and Travis Snipe. Devin Travis will throw him out from right field. Good play by Devin Travis. He throws out Chris Davis from right field. That shift works to perfection. Chris Davis hits it hard past the first baseman. Travis from his knees in right to end the inning. Thought we would compare previous third basemen, those that played last year, to Donaldson's season so far, and as the season has unfolded, Donaldson has a distinct advantage.
Yeah, it's not even close if you ask me. Josh Donaldson beating everybody in the categories. If you remember the third baseman, you know who had the most games started at third base for the Blue Jays last year? Juan Francisco. Brett Lawrie was second, Danny Valencia, and then Steve Tollefson. And Josh Donaldson early on has beaten all of them.
Boy, he's been a great addition to this ball club. His spirit, his drive, his motivation to win, I think it's going to be infectious as the season goes on.
Yeah, he just comes to play baseball, doesn't he?
Got a good game plan as well. Right now he's riding a mini 4-game hit streak. Struck out on a high fastball his first time up. I'll tell you what, Jimenez is locked in on that down and away fastball.
It's almost like he's saying, okay, I'm going to test the umpire to see if I can throw one this far off of home plate. Well, he called it a ball, so I'm going to now move it in a couple of inches. You can see the difference between pitch 2 and 3 in that sequence right there.
Jimenez has gone through quite a transformation. In his prime, when he was pitching for the Rockies, he threw 97 to 100. I've never pitched, of course, but when you lose that velocity, it's got to take a while before you gain confidence that you can pitch effectively at 91 to 93.
When everything was working correctly for Yubano Jimenez, those years that you were talking about, he was unhittable. Now he looks like he's under control. He's in control of his body. The arm is coming out every single time the right way. You never see any change. There's the split. Look at that, how he can dig that into those two fingers. He is under control, and yeah, you have to lose confidence if you're 97 down to 91. But he's got confidence now.
Well, it took him a year, and last year was a learning experience for him. And look at that pitch once again. Knee high, outer third of the plate. But last year we mentioned he went 6-9, and it was a tough season for him. But there's another pitch, 89 miles an hour, just located well with a little movement.
I like his tempo on the mound tonight this year as opposed to last year, the last couple of years. He just seems to be in control of his body.
Martin strikes out for a second time. That high fastball gets him. Mentioned Jimenez had just one strikeout in his last outing against the Mets.
Not wasting any time. He goes upstairs that time to get Russell for the second time.
That gives you a great idea about what hitters talk about when they say, I didn't get the head out. That ball was about in line with his chest when in fact you want to hit it out in front of home plate. So that fastball beat Martin.
And it's not 97, 98. He's got other weapons to get you out, and then all of a sudden looks like he hides the ball well. He's got that interesting arm swing when he gets the ball out of his glove, how he really wraps it quickly.
One other pitcher I recall that did that, where you could see the ball behind his back, was Rick Sutcliffe. He actually pitched here with the Orioles, and he had that same type of delivery where he'd wrap the ball behind his back. Popped out of play.
A little bit more deliberate with Rick. Jimenez a little bit quicker.
Well, the Blue Jays have gotten to him in the past, and they're going to have to grind to get to him here tonight. 2-2 to Encarnacion. For the second time tonight, Jimenez strikes out the side. This time he gets Donaldson, Martin, and Encarnacion.
Save money and create lasting memories with your coworkers, teammates, family, and friends. Book your group today. Call 416-341-1188 or go to bluejays.com/tickets. Buck?
Barry, that's a great piece of advice. There's some great series coming up. Make sure you call the Blue Jays and get some tickets. The Blue Jays will be on the road for a while and then come back. And when we come back, it'll be Mike Trout and the LA Angels, and then the Seattle Mariners with the red hot Nelson Cruz, and you might get a chance to see King Felix as well.
Felix.
He's off to a decent start, I would say.
Yeah, 6-0. He's doing okay.
That's pretty good.
Picked up his 2,000th strikeout the other day.
He just keeps rolling along, doesn't he? Seattle is off to a disappointing start. This is the second baseman now, Steve Pearce. Pearce moved into second base after Ryan Flaherty left, after he attempted to make a play on a base hit by Ryan Goins in third. Flaherty, you could see going after it, just couldn't move. A changeup, wicked hop for the third baseman, and it's offline. Donaldson loaded up a strong throw, but it sailed on him, and Smoke tried to maintain contact, but he reached for the ball. The throw pulled him off the bag. That'll be another error on Donaldson.
One more time. He gets there, gets the tricky hop, and he's got plenty of time, and again, it ball sails on him. Smoke looked like he did a pretty good job of staying engaged with that bag, and they're wasting some time here right now. They're talking out at the mound to get a review of that one. Smoke is so long, and a long arm. He's about 6'4". But it's to no avail. He's going to be charged with that 7th error.
Well, the Blue Jays have asked for a review, and the challenge is underway, so the umpires will go to the headset and they will listen. And Tom Hallion is the crew chief. He's at second base, and then the first base umpire who made the call, Bruce Dreckman, will listen into New York as they review this play. Donaldson would be charged with his 7th error, and it looked like the foot was off the bag. You could see it moving around as he stretched for that baseball.
Yeah, such a tough play for him because he's got to turn his body all the way around and catch it across his body. There it is in the glove, and you can't really tell if the spike is still engaged with the bag. The ball kept sailing on him. Yeah, it looks like he was off the bag on that one.
The Blue Jays had a challenge at the hands of the Red Sox on Saturday afternoon, a second inning of double play ball. Panthers Sandoval was called out in a double play. They went to the challenge, and the ruling on the field was overturned. That was in the second inning, and that was a 5-minute review. It took a long time. It was that close.
You know, it's a tough play for a first baseman because you want to make the play for your third baseman. You want to save him an error, and you want to hang on that bag as long as possible. But what you don't want to do in trying to save an error is let the ball get by you. That's the last thing you want to do.
Yeah, that compounds the situation for sure. So you've played a lot of first base, and you understand the first goal obviously is to help out the third baseman, try to make the out, but you've got to make sure the ball doesn't get down the line.
And you're taught as a first baseman, if the ball is going to be a wide throw, come off the bag, catch it, give him first. You don't want to give him first and second on an overthrow. And for a first baseman, shifting your feet and coming to the inside path of that runner, that's a tough play for any first baseman.
There's another look at it, and technically that's exactly how you want to go after a ball that's on the other side of the baseline. Come across the bag, try to maintain contact, but the ball was just too far away from first base. So the review is still underway. The umpires are still listening to New York. Obviously, it's a big call. This is the leadoff man in the 4th inning, and
you're at the bottom part of the order right here. You want to get as many outs as you can. It's only 3-0.
Yeah, Blue Jays, they can score runs in bunches, obviously. Another look at it, and Smoke goes into foul territory, and there
it's in the glove.
Boy, that's tough to tell if it's in contact with the base. The umpires have the decision, and they have upheld the ruling on the field that Pearce is safe. So the Blue Jays will lose their challenge. It's an error on Donaldson, his 7th. And the leadoff man's aboard here in the 4th. So J.J. Hardy will step in. Hardy popped out to the shortstop his first time up. Hardy has certainly flourished since coming to the Orioles. It was a great opportunity for him. He had spent some time in Minnesota with the Twins. He started out his big league career in Milwaukee. There goes the runner. Russell Martin's throw is short, but what a tag by Travis. Nevin Travis got to the bag quickly, set up perfectly, and he was able to take the short hop throw and put the tag on Pierce.
How many times have we said it this year? This is the 11th base runner that he has caught stealing. It's a low throw, and it ricochets right to Travis. And one other thing that Devin is showing, he's got quick hands. Catches it, puts it right down on the foot, and the error is released right there, erased right off the bases.
There's a deep drive to left, but that's going to be foul. Boy, catchers love that when the middle infielders get to the bag quickly because they can make a play on a bad throw.
Look how he's straddling the bag, too. That's exactly how you want to take that throw at second base. A lot of times you'll see infielders get on one side of the bag or another, but if you're right between the legs like that, he's going to slide right into you.
Line drive right to Donaldson, so quick turnaround for the Blue Jays here in the fourth. The error is erased by a terrific play by Martin and Travis, and then Donaldson takes the liner at third. Boy, oftentimes those middle infielders will get in front of the bag and try to reach back and tag the base runner. That's a slower way to try to tag him out.
You know, that one shot we had of Travis straddling the bag and catching it, that needs to go into a video right there. The proper way to catch a ball on a stolen base.
This is David Lowe getting his first at bat. He came in to the ball game after Flaherty had to leave with that apparent groin injury. The only reason we say it's a groin injury is because that's what he was on the DL with, and he has evidently re-aggravated that injury. Change up, little looper into center. Pilar is going to play on the Lowe hit it off the end of the bat and dumps it in front of the center fielder. Well, Marco Estrada is pitching in Daniel Norris' spot in the rotation. Norris is pitching in AAA Buffalo. They're playing Durham. And his line was a pretty good one, Pat.
Pitched into the seventh inning and had 7 strikeouts. Still 3 walks. As soon as Daniel is able to command that fastball just a little bit better and those breaking balls, his stuff, there's no question he's got A material, if you will, at the big leagues. It's just refining it right now. Being able to throw the strike with a fastball at any point in a count, he'll be back.
What's the problem with 3 walks? Michael Pineda has 3 walks.
Yeah, but it's taken him, what, 6 or 7 starts?
7 starts, 3 walks, 54 strikeouts for Pineda. Incredible.
Yeah.
For a power pitcher.
For a big power pitcher like that to be able to command a strike zone.
Pineda is 5-0 for the Yankees. He's got a 272 earned run average. He has 54 strikeouts in 46 in the 3rd innings and 3 walks. Crazy numbers. 2-0 to Caleb Joseph. He lifts a high fly ball, shallow right. Colabello coming in, and he calls for it, makes the catch. The inning is over. Good defense. Russell Martin throws out a base runner. We move to the 5th. Now it's time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn.
All experts take you beyond the game. Follow along on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram using the hashtag Blue Jays. Buck?
Thank you, Barry. Good way to keep up with everything, get inside what's going on with the Blue Jays, so make sure you check it out at Sportsnet. As a Blue Jay fan, enjoying the atmosphere here in Oriole Park at Camden Yards. Beautiful facility. Good to see the fans back.
They love their team, don't they? They love the Orioles. A lot of orange.
They've had a rich tradition of winning that had disappeared for a while, but now they have come back. And those two guys sat there, looked in the mirror, and says, "Yeah, we're looking pretty good tonight. Why don't we go to the ball game?" Really? This is Justin Smoke. He grounded into a 4-5-3 double play. Of course, the Orioles playing in that shift. It's only a 3-0 game, and the Blue Jays are the most potent offense in baseball. They can erase a 3-run deficit in a couple of swings of the bat.
Well, they just have not been able to pull the trigger on those fastballs. It's almost like the Blue Jay hitters are not picking up the fastball.
Well, you said it earlier when you talk about Jimenez and his delivery. There's a lot of moving parts to it. And talk about a hitter trying to pick up a release point. What does he focus on when you face a pitcher like Jimenez?
Normally, you focus right above his shoulder, that little window where the ball is going to come out. But his delivery is so deliberate. There's a lot of moving parts. He throws his glove at you, and then all of a sudden he drops that splitter on you.
Save during the Lawn and Garden Expert Sale. Only at Home Hardware and Home Hardware Building Center. Homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
One walk, 7 strikeouts through 4 1/3 for Jimenez.
Again, his last outing was just 4 innings. His shortest outing of the season, not counting the 3 2/3 he had in Boston where he got thrown out when he hit Pablo Sandoval. He just said, I didn't have any feel for my breaking ball. Well, tonight he's got his curveball. There's another one. He's got his splitter working. He's got that comeback fastball working.
Chris Colabello has one of the 2 Blue Jay hits. Ryan Goins has the other. Jimenez gave up a home run to Curtis Granderson in that last start. That was at Citi Field against the Mets, and he was matched up against Jacob deGrom. Orioles ran into some tough pitching on this last road trip.
Yeah.
They went 3-6 on their 9-game road trip. Grounder toward third. Machado in time. 2 down. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Well, that's one thing that the Yankees haven't been able to do over the last couple of years is play well against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay has played them tough down there because they've always got that good pitcher. A little different story tonight. This is Kevin Pillar. He lined out to left field in his only at bat. The Yankees this year have won 5 of the first 6 meetings against Tampa Bay. Nobody's going to catch that one, Kevin. He's headed around first. He'll go to second with a 2-out double. His 10th double of this season.
Well, he got a fastball, and he wasn't going to let that one go by. Comeback fastball. Watch him. He lined out the left field on an off-speed pitch last time up. They wanted that ball away, and he turns on it on the inner half. This is the first time that the Blue Jays have a runner at second base, and it continues their streak of hitting doubles.
30th consecutive game with a double. They've had an extra base hit in every game they've played this season. This is their 33rd game. Ezequiel Carrera goes after the first pitch and drives it, and that's going to get over the head of Lowe into left center. Pilar comes in to score, back-to-back doubles, and the Blue Jays are on the board. For Carrera, that's his 6th RBI. Pilar scores the first Blue Jay run of the night.
You know, he had a hit taken away from him his last time up, or his first time up of the ball game, because they were playing so shallow. So he says, you know what, if you're going to take away those hits when I hit him into the outfield, I'm going to knock it over the outfielder. This time he drives that ball over his head.
That was interesting too, because that line drive he hit, Steve Pearce was in the game at that time, and he was playing shallow. David Lowe is a much faster outfielder. He was a little bit deeper, and that ball kind of burned him as he couldn't get back in time. So big hit for the Blue Jays, and they've finally broken through against Ubaldo Jimenez. That's the first earned run he's allowed in this ballpark this season. This is his 3rd start.
How about that with 2 outs? 2 very quick outs here in the 5th inning, and then a double and another double. And you got a runner in scoring position. 3-1.
Brand new ball game.
Yep. They are within striking distance.
Off the end of the bat, line to the shortstop. That'll end the inning, but the Blue Jays score a run on 2 doubles and come with 2 outs. Carrera with the RBI.
Game Center Live for your chance to win a Samsung Galaxy SX and a $200 gift card to the shopping channel. Just log in and watch to be automatically entered. No NHL playoffs here tonight, Buck, so a lot more attention to baseball, including the Jays here this evening.
Barry, that's always a good thing, and certainly they'll pick things up again tomorrow night. Stanley Cup playoffs ongoing. Some great series as Montreal has played their way back into the series against the Lightning. Manny Machado will lead things off here in the bottom of the 5th. Machado has homered and flied out. Both teams with just 4 hits. Big breaking ball. Estrada's trying to show the Orioles something other than fastball changeup.
And I think that's important. That curveball and that cutter, he's got to be able to use that and then go back to the changeup and the fastball.
Or you can do like Jimenez and throw that fastball down and away.
Yeah, and just keep painting down there. He's getting close to his limit also, so he's got to have a quick inning here. John Gibbons and Pete Walker have one eye on the bullpen and one eye on that pitcher's mound.
Another fly ball. This one's going to stay in the ballpark. Colabello is there, and Machado is retired. Let's check in again with Jamie Campbell. That is Jacob deGrom of the Mets that has given up the home runs. There you see Steve Delabar starting to loosen up for the Blue Jays. John Lester on the mound for the Cubs. He has 3 strikeouts through an inning and 2/3. Jimmy Paredes, he will swing at that first pitch.
He comes off that bench swinging. It's a good low ball hitter. That time they rushed that fastball up around the letters and he swung right through it.
Paredes is an interesting study in perseverance. He signed originally with the Yankees way back in 2007. And then he was acquired by Houston along with Mark Melanson for Lance Berkman. So he went to Houston and he was a high prospect with the Yankees. And then he was claimed by the Marlins off the waiver wire in 2013. Claimed by the Orioles in February. They lost him to Kansas City a couple days later. And then the Orioles purchased Paredes from Kansas City mid-season last year. He stays on that low pitch and hits it into right.
Now, I don't know what it is. His numbers in his career against the Blue Jays are not very good. But it seems like he's always on base against Toronto. There's another base hit. Over 400 versus that low ball in the month of May, and he went down and got that one.
Staying on that pitch, and he's aboard now for Adam Jones. One out. Orioles have a 3-1 lead. Jones pops it up on the infield. Second baseman Devin Travis calls for it, makes the catch. Jones retired on one pitch.
A dangerous hitter. He challenged him with that high fastball.
Estrada pitching in the 5th inning. Now there's double barrel action. Jeff Francis has joined Steve Delabar in the Blue Jays bullpen.
And trying to get loose very quickly. If he loses Delman Young here, looks like John Gibbons might want to make a pitching change for Chris Davis.
Davis, a left-handed bat, of course, is on deck behind Delman Young. Two outs. Everybody in the ballpark knows you're going to get that changeup, but it is so good that if he mixes it in correctly, he's going to have a lot of success with it. Ball and a strike, 2 outs. It's a 3-1 Oriole lead. Good shot inside. Estrada probably sensing this might be his last inning. Can dig down deep and muster up a little more here.
Yeah,
to close out the inning.
Everything you got right here. This is probably his last batter of the night.
Changeup. Estrada again for the second consecutive start had first inning problems. He gave up 2 runs in his last start in the first against New York. Tonight, it was a pair of home runs and 3 runs to the Orioles, but that's been the only damage he's allowed. High fastball. Estrada in the 5th inning in that Yankees start gave up a 2-run home run to Mark Teixeira, the last batter he faced.
Yeah, he's right where he was in his last start, 4 2/3 innings. It'd be nice to be able to finish off this inning right here, getting Delman Young.
Got him. Tied him up with that inside pitch. Delman Young strikes out. The Orioles leave a base runner. Estrada, through 5 innings, has kept his club in striking distance.
Will soon be coming your way, presented by Baseball Canada and Little League Canada. 2015 stops include Abbotsford, BC, Okotoks, Alberta, Halifax, Nova Scotia, Victoria, BC, and Toronto. BlueJays.com/Baseball Academy is where you go for more details. The Blue Jays are proud supporters of amateur baseball across Canada. Great time to get out and see part of those super camps, Buck.
Well, it sure is, Barry. Dwayne Ward does a great job organizing those super camps with all help of Rob Jack, the Blue Jays. And it's a great event, and make sure you check it out when it's in your area.
Guys are hardworking. Those alumni come in, they put a lot of time in. Very beneficial to the young campers.
Back up the middle. Pierce is there, and he goes out. Evan Chettis, Steve Pierce taking over defensively in the 3rd inning.
Looks pretty good out at second base.
We mentioned he has played 5 games at second base this season, made 5 starts there. The Orioles still trying to get healthy. Matt Wieters is in extended spring training in Sarasota, Florida. He's going to catch twice this week, and then the goal is to have him catch back-to-back games before they send him out on rehab. But he's still not a year away from his surgery. Josh Donaldson jumps on the first pitch and singles into left field.
Boy, he wasn't waiting around, was he? Jimenez has been getting ahead with that fastball. Blue Jays were taking it, and Josh said, you know what, enough of that. Take that one right back through the middle.
Well, this is where the Blue Jays can really bust the game wide open, get right back in the middle of their order. Russell Martin's batting 3rd. Remember, Bautista is not in the lineup tonight. It's a combination of several things, including the fact that he doesn't hit well against Jimenez. Martin goes after the first pitch. Chris Davis over near the Orioles dugout, but it's in the dugout out of his reach. You can see Davis was intent on getting over there quickly. Anytime you can retire the red hot Russell Martin, you want to take advantage of it.
And it looked like he had a shot, but that ball just kept fading away from him. Russell gets another shot here against Jimenez.
Another pitch away.
He has struck out twice tonight against Jimenez, and it looks like they're trying to feed that ball up on purpose to Martin. He got caught looking his first time up and then struck out on a high pitch in the fourth inning, and now the first two pitches here in the sixth have been up in the strike zone.
Now, Russell's always a kind of hitter that likes to see a lot of pitches in the at-bat. He's among the leaders in pitches per plate appearance. But Jimenez has thrown so many strikes tonight, you've got to be ready to cut early.
Yep, 4.5 pitches per at-bat for Russell Martin, so he's got a lot of information to work with.
The ball is bounced in the dirt. There's still nobody moving around in the Orioles bullpen, and Jimenez is working here in the sixth. And that's one of the best bullpens in all of baseball out there, and you can bet they're standing by thinking about getting ready.
Still in pretty good shape at just 78 pitches.
Two balls and two strikes to Russell Martin. He went around. Home plate umpire Gambolino calls him for the swing. Martin strikes out for a third time tonight. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Statue of the Hall of Famer Jim Palmer outside this ballpark. He is working on the Masson broadcast for the Orioles tonight. There's the color analyst along with Jim Hunter. Such a big part of the Orioles' legacy here in Baltimore.
Yeah, they've had some great players. I mean, great players. Hall of Fame.
2-0. Edwin Encarnacion snapped a long homerless drought on Saturday.
He looks like he's loading up, looking for that one pitch on the inner half. And they take it outside. Try to tie this ball game up with one swing.
Two and one.
That's a pitch that is a strike. I think Edwin is thinking that that ball is low. But that's a perfect pitch.
It looked like it on the pitch tracker, that's for sure. Tough pitch to hit. There goes Donaldson, a swing and a strikeout. And Encarnacion strikes out. The Blue Jays get a single but leave a base runner. We head to the bottom of the sixth. 3-1 Baltimore. RV Motor Trend's 2015 Sport Utility of the Year.
It came early. It's the first inning, the first pitch to Chris Davis, and he launches it to right field. Davis in his career versus the Blue Jays, this is his 79th game and his 26th home run against Toronto pitching. That was a 2-run home run. It made it 3-0 after one.
Well, the Blue Jays got a run after Davis gave Baltimore a 3-0 lead. Blue Jays have made it a 3-1 ball game. Jeff Francis into the game to start the sixth, and he will face Chris Davis. Francis making his 7th appearance of the season.
Got that big left-hander up there, so let's bring in our big left-hander to combat that. 1-1, 463 earned run average. Jeff Francis last work 6 days ago. That was against the Yankees when he picked up a no decision and an inning and a third. You see John Gibbons and his bench coach Tomorrow Hale figuring out a way to get through this.
Davis slaps the first pitch into left field. Chris Davis is now 8 for 23, hitting over 320 against left-handed pitching. Leadoff single for Davis.
I think the whole secret for him is don't try and pull those lefties. Stay on the pitch, and he wasn't waiting around. He got the fastball he was looking for in that first pitch, and he picks up that leadoff single.
This is Steve Pearce, who started in left field. He's since moved to second. Francis misses with that first pitch, down and in. Ball on a strike. Base hit into left. Back-to-back hits for the Orioles in the bottom of the 6th. Marco Estrada gave up 3 runs on a pair of home runs in the first inning, but then settled down and held the Orioles in check.
Yeah, held them in check is right. Threw up 4 zeros in his 5 innings. After that first inning, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, a couple of walks, and 4 strikeouts. He started using the curveball a little bit more. Used the changeup. At 3 runs in the first inning against the Orioles. Big bats, and then throw up for 0. That's a good job.
J.J. Hardy, the shortstop, has gone 0 for 2 so far. Changeup for a strike, 1-1. Hardy fouls that right off the top of his left foot. Ball was bearing in on him, and he fouled it off. They hit him right on the top of that foot.
First 2 guys reach here. Blue Jays' first pitch thought that they were going to bunt, but there's no way that they're going to bunt with J.J. Hardy. Here's that replay right off the top of the shoe. He has been good against left-handers in his career. So you're not going to take the bat out of his hand. Buck Showalter's playing for the big inning here.
Yeah, they're just happy to have J.J. Hardy back. He homered yesterday against Michael Pineda, so you're not going to have him bunt in this situation. You got David Lowe, a left-handed bat on deck, and then the number 9 hitter. Hardy's got a hit against Francis. Went for the same spot and got the strikeout. J.J. Hardy went around. Well, that's a big pitch for Francis. That sets up the potential for an inning-ending double play.
Big strikeout. Right after those first 2 batters reach, you need a strikeout or a pop-up. He goes to his breaking ball. Buries this one. See how that ball's going down and in? Looked tempting to J.J. Hardy. Cannot hold up.
Well, you really got to take advantage of David Lowe. This is his first at bat against a left-handed pitcher this season. And he gets ahead of him with a breaking ball. Lowe came into the game as a defensive replacement, moving to left field. Ryan Flaherty, the second baseman, injured himself trying to field a base hit by Ryan Goins. Lowe single to center off of Estrada in the fourth. And you can hear the crowd reacting, but that's the last thing Jeff Francis wanted to do with the lefty batter there.
Left on left. You're looking for the ground ball double play. That's the last thing he wanted. That fastball just got away from him a little bit. You can see they wanted to go in just a little bit. Hits him right on the back of his arm, loading up the bases and sending John Gibbons to the mound.
Yeah, that was a good matchup for Francis, and after he hits Lowe to load the bases, there'll be a pitching change. John Gibbons has made the call to the bullpen. Steve Delabar will come in to face the catcher Caleb Joseph with the bases loaded and one out. It's a 3-1 ball game. We're in the bottom of the sixth here in Oriole Park at Camden Yards. The Orioles have the bases loaded. There's one out. Steve Delabar into the game in relief of Jeff Francis, and the Blue Jays have just come off their best stretch of the season. Over the 6 games at home, the bullpen has been terrific.
It has been outstanding. Delabar just recalled from Buffalo on May the 4th. That's the AAA team for the Blue Jays. This is his 3rd game already. He's got the stuff to get out of this jam. Good fastball, hard fastball, and a good split. And he can strike out batters at times. He's had trouble with that fastball command. And right now, facing the number 9 hitter, he is looking for anything on the ground right here to get out of this inning.
Caleb Joseph, the catcher, goes after the first pitch. Joseph done a good job batting in that 9th spot in the order. He's batting .295. Big point in the ball game for both of these clubs.
Blue Jays need a 0 right here.
Delabar with a good fastball ties up Joseph. He has set up that split finger pitch very effectively right now.
What you don't want to do is overthrow it and spike it in the ground. That's going to be a run for the Orioles. You know, you could try something up and away right now if you want. Since you're ahead 0-2, maybe he'll fish for that fastball, or you can go with that splitter.
Throw him a breaking ball. Breaking ball, the slider way outside. Delabar has had success pitching in this ballpark. 1-2 to Caleb Joseph.
There's that high heater right there. 93 miles an hour, and it got on him. Joseph's approach, you could see him, he's trying to wait as long as possible because he knows in the back of his mind Delabar's got that splitter. Just trying to foul off that fastball.
Joseph has a 143 average with the bases loaded. Delabar would love to have a tapper right back to the mound. Wouldn't chase that ball in the dirt. 2-2. Two balls and 2 strikes. The Orioles threatening to add to their 3-1 lead. Another breaking ball. Haven't seen the split.
Those look like the sliders right there. And Joseph very patiently has gotten back into the count.
Chris Davis singled to start the inning. Steve Pearce singled behind him after the strikeout. David Lowe was hit by a pitch. There's a fly ball to center. Pilar setting up. Davis tagging at third. Here's the throw. It's going to be offline and late. Caleb Joseph with the sacrifice fly drives in his 10th run of the season.
Boy, once he fell behind the batter, Joseph, he shortened everything up, and he was just hoping to get back in the count against Delabar. And he got the fastball and got enough of it out in front to drive in a run. That's a battling at bat right there against a pretty tough pitcher.
So now back to the top of the order. Manny Machado, the leadoff man, 1 for 3. Delabar on in relief of Jeff Francis, who started the inning. Another slider down and away. Snap throw to second, and Travis couldn't hold on to the ball.
He had him. He had him at second base. Russell Martin, what a heads-up play. He and Devin Travis, they made eye contact there. And if it was going to be a ball, he said, be there. And in his haste, Devin Travis a little bit too quick trying to apply that tag, and he can't come up with the ball. It goes right off of his glove. But you can see from that replay, if he holds on to it, he's out.
In the meantime, it's 3-0 to Machado. There's a strike. Delabar at 93 with the fastball.
You got to figure Machado is looking for that fastball right here, 3-1.
Pulls it on the ground. Donaldson will go to second for the force out. That ends the inning, but the Orioles get an insurance run. Sacrifice fly by Caleb Joseph. Once again, it's a 3-run lead for Jimenez.
Sign up at nextissue.ca/baseball and get an extended 60-day free trial. Guys, you were talking earlier about the great start tonight from Daniel Norris with the Bisons. Well, it was also a big night for Dalton Pompey. He came into tonight's game really struggling, hitting just 143 since being sent down. Well, tonight he went 4 for 5, upped his average to 242. Meanwhile, Miguel Castro, the third of the Blue Jays rookies that got sent down, continues to struggle a little bit as well. And I talked to Pete Walker about his first start where he went 1 inning and gave up 5 hits, a couple of runs. He says he was just a little bit anxious about being sent down. He expects much better things from him next time. He says he's not going to go more than 5 innings in his start there. They're going to stretch him out, but when he returns, the role will continue to be what it was when he was here earlier in the year, and that is to be one of those top-notch late-inning guys that can throw heat. Buck?
Thank you, Barry. That's a good job on the update. Appreciate that. Dalton Pompey having a good night. The Buffalo Bisons scored 9 runs on 17 hits tonight. Huston Smoke is thrown out by Steve Pearce from shallow right. 1 down.
The championship-winning Honda CRF 450R for those who dare to ride red.
Inner Harbor of Baltimore. Beautiful shot of the Inner Harbor and the ballpark just a few blocks away from that harbor. Here's Colabello. Called for the strike. Colabello is one of the Blue Jays' 5 hits against Jimenez.
Ooh. Thumb ball. What do you think?
Yeah, that got catch pretty good on the meat hand, I think. Years ago, the umpires used to give you a baseball, just an extra baseball, so you grab this to see how it feels and make sure you're okay. Dr. Showalter's already lost 1 player tonight.
Foul tip from Colabello. Watch where this one hits, right off the thumb of his glove. You see him grab it right away, bends that thumb backwards.
Popped into the seats. Yeah, some catchers now wear a holster, a hard plastic thumb guard, and you can see he's smiling about it right now, but most catchers feel that's very restrictive and takes some of your flexibility and mobility away, so Joseph chooses not to wear it.
One time I went and caught a pitcher.
Really? Warming up like in
yeah,
between
I wanted
innings?
to see what it was like. It was my last year. I wanted to see what it was like, and I got hit on the thumb like he did on a pitch, not a foul ball. Man, did that hurt. And I finally realized I was pretty smart. I was never a catcher.
Off the plate outside. Dan Bellino is the home plate umpire, and he's had some tough calls. But by watching pitch tracks, it looks like he's been pretty consistent.
He's been very consistent tonight. There have been some very tough pitches from Jimenez.
That splitter Colabello didn't chase. Bruce Dreckman down at first said no swing.
And I love the reaction from Chris Colabello. As soon as I said no. Watch him after he checks his swing. He almost talks the umpire into it. No, I did not.
Full count. Kevin Pillar is on deck. He had a double and scored the only Blue Jay run of the night. It's going to reach the seats out of play, and Caleb Joseph wants to talk about this next pitch. 20,468 in attendance tonight here at the ballpark, and of course this is the first game since they played in front of 0 fans last time, April 29th.
Same pitcher.
Yeah.
Jimenez both times.
The game was against the White Sox, and then they canceled the final 2 games of that series, and then they took the next series against Tampa Bay that was supposed to be played here and played it in St. Petersburg. Another 3-2 pitch. Another foul back. Colabello played 7 years in the Can-Am League. It was an independent league, and he ran into Dan Duquette, who is now the GM of the Orioles, and he asked Duquette during his time in the Can-Am League what it takes to get to the big leagues, and Duquette said, "You hit, you'll make it to the big leagues." And here he is, and now he takes ball 4.
Boy, what an at bat! 9-pitch at bat against Jimenez really made him work. Second time that he has been on base tonight.
Still no action in the Orioles bullpen. And you almost applaud Buck Showalter, saying, you know what, the guy's pitching great. Dave Wallace, the pitching coach, still just sitting back watching his man Jimenez work tonight. He's allowed 1 run on 5 hits.
Well, that has been automatic right there for him. That first pitch fastball to the righties. Down and away.
Pilar tries to cut this one down the right field foul line, and it slices into the seats. Kevin Pilar, we mentioned he had a rough homestand. He said, I was getting a lot of fastballs and missing them. And then he said, you know what might come out of it? The Orioles throwing me a lot of fastballs because I didn't hit any on the 6-game homestand.
He hit a fastball last time up, didn't he? Hit it hard down the left field line.
Protects the plate with 2 strikes. He has earned his first good opportunity to play in the big leagues. Again, protecting the plate. Kevin's playing in the 33rd game. He's played in every game for the Blue Jays. It's a great opportunity for a young player that makes you realize 0 for 4 is not so bad. You're going to get 4 more tomorrow.
Yeah, that's such a good feeling, knowing that you don't have to produce every single day, that you can go out there. And if you do run into a pitcher like this who's tough, you're going to be back out there. And you're right, he's earned it. He has played his way into a starting spot for this Blue Jay team.
Ground ball, Machado, second base for 1, back to first, in time. Pilar believes he beat the throw. Bruce Dreckman called him out. Tim Leeper, the first base coach, over to support Pilar. Now John Gibbons has popped out of the Blue Jays dugout. And they're going to hold Jimenez on the field. They made the starter go back.
They lost their challenge right earlier in the game.
7th inning. The manager can ask for a review.
Ask for a review.
Yeah. And that's what they're going to do. Bruce Dreckman will join Tom Hallion, and they'll go to the headset, and they're talking it over first. And now the umpires are going to convene. Hallion called over the third base umpire, Alfonso Marquez. And he appears to be safe. The ball's not in the glove. That foot is on the ground. And
yep.
This is an umpire's consultation about whether or not they should have a look at it.
And Pilar was pretty emphatic. As soon as he touched the base, he said, I was safe. And I think that's what started this whole procedure right here. He's not moving. You know, as a base runner, when your hits that bag before that ball, the sound of that ball hitting the leather of the first baseman. Look at him lean in that last step. He leans right through the bag, and the emphatic what?
Yeah, he did a good job of just expressing his feelings, and then went back to first base and turned it over to the manager, and John Gibbons come out and asked the umpires to review the call.
You know what he didn't do, which was the correct way? You don't jump that last time, that last step towards first base. You run through the bag. It's like a sprinter running the 100, and you're going to break the tape. You lean forward and get there as quickly as possible.
And the ruling is overturned on the field. Tom Hallion, the crew chief, signaling safe. Buck Showalter not really pleased about that.
Look at him lean forward like a sprinter He doesn't leap. He just stays on the ground, and he's through, and that's a good call.
The call is overturned.
And it keeps the inning alive. And look who's coming up.
Ezequiel Carrera is the scheduled batter, and Jose Bautista. And now he is called back.
Wow.
That was interesting.
He didn't represent the tying run.
Right.
And maybe they...
Because if Carrera's got to get on, then he can hit for Goins.
Yeah.
So...
I saw Gibby pull back Carrera, and then you saw Bautista come out, and then they had a little discussion, said that's only going to make it 4-3 if he goes deep.
2 outs, and Carrera's got to get aboard here, and then that will bring Bautista to the plate. You know what happens, and this has happened to me in the past, you forget about that run in the 6th, and you think, okay, we're down by 2, and then somebody may have brought it to his attention, hey, he's not the tying run yet. I mean, lots gone on in this half inning. The challenge at first, the double play is overturned, so Pilar is at first with 2 outs. Carrera had an RBI double in the 5th. He drove in the only Blue Jays run. There goes Pilar, and Caleb's throw to second is not in time. Boy, Pierce has played great at second since he's moved in there from left field. He backed up that play very effectively. So Pilar picks up his 6th stolen base in 6 attempts. Two and 0 to Carrera. Fly ball to center. Jones on the run. This ball is deep over his head and up against the wall. Pilar's in to score. Carrera, a second double of the night, and he drives home Pilar from second.
For the second time, Adam Jones plays a very shallow center field. We have seen that forever here in Baltimore, and Carrera is going to cross him up once again. He got on top of that ball and drove it to the 410 sign in dead center field. And Adam Jones, who plays very shallow, cannot get back there to get it. You can see him in center field. This ball's covered by Carrera. Deepest part of the ballpark. It stays in the ballpark. And it plates Pilar with the second run.
Ezequiel Carrera with 2 RBIs tonight. He's driven on both Blue Jays runs. And now there are 2 outs. And isn't it interesting who's warming up in the Orioles bullpen? Bautista's on the bench. Darren O'Day is warming up for the Orioles. He and Bautista, of course, have a history. Jose is standing ready, bat in hand. Ball and a strike to the number 9 hitter, Ryan Goins. Wow, 4-2 Orioles lead. We're in the top of the 7th.
Wow, that's a tough pitch.
That's a tough pitch. Maybe off the plate even further than the previous strike. They managed with 9 strikeouts, a season high.
His previous season high was against the Blue Jays. They're right here.
Swing and a drive. This ball is hit deep. Young back and makes a running catch. Goins hit another ball right on the nose. Delman Young, not noted for his great defense, made a heck of a play in support of Jimenez. Ryan Goins hit what looked to be an extra base hit, driven deep to right, but Delman Young runs it down just short of the warning track.
Games in May. Monday, May 18th, the Angels visit at 107. That's Victoria Day. And then on Wednesday, May 27th, the White Sox come to Rogers Center for a 12:37 start. That was originally a 7:05 start. Two great opportunities this month to enjoy some afternoon baseball at Rogers Center. Get your tickets at BlueJays.com. And the roof may be open, and it's always fun to watch baseball outdoors in the afternoon. Buck?
Boy, it sure is, Barry, and certainly the 18th at Victoria Monday is a great opportunity to come out and enjoy a nice afternoon game. And then you can go out and enjoy a nice dinner after the ball game. And then the 27th, as Barry mentioned, a makeup day prior to the Blue Jays leaving to go to Minnesota. 1-1 to Jimmy Paredes, the number 2 hitter. He has 2 more hits tonight. He's extended his hit streak to 10 straight.
It's a big inning right here. They need a shutdown inning, and they're going to be facing the best hitters the Orioles have to offer tonight.
Inside pitch that's gone against the Blue Jays all night. That inside corner. Delabar gave up a sacrifice fly to Caleb Joseph. And Paredes tried to check his swing and goes around. We had mentioned the Blue Jays bullpen on that 6-game homestand. How well they pitched. They threw a total of 18 in the 3rd innings, allowed just 5 hits and had 15 strikeouts. The bullpen really got it together over those 6 games.
Starting to sort itself out.
Got Cecil loosening up. Ryan Tepera on the left had 2 innings perfect in his major league debut. The phone is ringing, and Dane Johnson will. This is high and deep to left. Herrera will watch it go back, and Adam Jones has hit his 6th home run. So the Orioles get that run right back.
Adam Jones, before that one, 4 of his 5 home runs were off a fastball this year. He can get the head out on that fastball. That time it looked like Delabar threw him an off-speed pitch. Yep, another slider. You can see the hand on the side of the baseball. That just makes it spin up there, and Jones cranks it out of here to left field.
For Jones, that's his 3rd home run this season against the Blue Jays. So half of his home runs have been given up by the Jays.
You know, we were talking about Chris Davis having big numbers against the Blue Jays, home run wise, 26 home runs. Adam Jones is the same way against the Blue Jays. That was his 28th career home run.
Delman Young, maybe a game-saving catch in the top half of this inning. Young came up with the Tampa Bay Rays and really was a pretty good outfielder. He played right field for Tampa Bay and had a strong arm. Then he's been relegated to more of a defensive kind of guy that can move around from left to right. Osuna is throwing behind Delabar.
Boy, both of these teams, they go back and forth, don't they? At each other.
The Blue Jays have won 5 of the first 6 games these two teams have played. There's a slider, and Young strikes out for the 3rd time tonight. John Gibbons, his club scratched and got within 2, and then the home run by Jones once again gives Baltimore a 3-run lead. Of course, that's where they all started back in the first when Davis hit the second of 2 home runs in the first to give the Orioles a 3-0 lead.
This should be a lot of fun. This at bat right here. Power versus power. That was the splitter right there. 85 miles an hour.
Oh, 2 to Davis.
Look at those numbers. He's got 3 hits in his career versus Steve Delabar. 2 of them home runs.
Boy, that's a pretty good pitch. Looked like it was a strike. Russell Martin wanted to elevate that fastball, and they may have caught the top of the strike zone. Didn't get the call. Another splitter. Delabar strikes out the side, but gives up a big insurance run, a home run with 1 out to Adam Jones. Jones' 6th home run, 3rd home run of the night for the Orioles.
Playoffs and Toronto Blue Jays. Shop tsc.ca, and Bucket worked very well for Mother's Day too, I have to tell you.
Good for you, Barry. Scored some points at home. That's always good. Well, that's a great shot of the inner harbor. As we look down there on a calm, beautiful night. 23 degrees at the start of this ball game. Darren O'Day into the game in the 8th.
Take a look at that earned run average, 0.84. That is tied for 9th in the American League in relief earned run average. Last year he was 4th in the American League in holds with 25. The sidewinder is tough to pick up. Very tough on right-handed batters.
Devin Travis is 0 for 3. And that breaking ball sails off the plate outside. Blue Jays trail by 3. We're in the 8th. 3 home runs, the difference in the ball game for the Orioles. 2 solo homers and a 2-run shot. And that's what the Orioles do. They've been doing it since Earl Weaver was their manager.
Yeah.
Good pitching and 3-run homers.
And play great defense, and they've been able to do that in a 3-run homer. That's a long time that they've done that. What, 40, 50 years here?
Travis fights off that inside pitch.
O'Day is basically a sinker slider type of pitcher. He comes from down under, so that gives it a little bit of deception. As a hitter, especially early in the count, I think you have to look for one of those pitches. Either look for the fastball and sit on that, or look for his slider. Look for the ball away or look for the ball in. When you get to 2 strikes, though, that's when he could really expand.
Oh, that's a tough pitch down and away. O'Day strikes out Devin Travis. Ubaldo Jimenez went 7 innings for a second time against the Blue Jays this season. He gave up 2 runs on 6 hits, his first 2 earned runs allowed this season in his home ballpark, and set a new season high with 9 strikeouts.
Throwing more fastballs, and he did that here tonight, to the tune of 9 strikeouts. Buck Showalter's got to be very pleased with that outing.
Donaldson chops it foul to first baseline. Donaldson had a single off of Jimenez in the 6th. You can see Donaldson's really fighting to stay on that ball away, anticipates breaking balls or sinkers away, and he really kept his hands inside that baseball.
He's locked in. For me, he's locked in. Those are some tough pitches from O'Day, and he's got a definite plan up there. What he's trying to do, it looks like he's trying to shoot the ball the other way.
O'Day elevates that fastball and strikes out Donaldson.
Save during the Lawn and Garden Expert Sale. Only at Home Hardware and Home Hardware Building Center. Homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
Russell Martin has struck out 3 times so far tonight. O'Day called out Joseph. He wants to talk about this next pitch. Jimenez struck out 9. O'Day has struck out the first 2 here in the 8th. Tapper, that'll roll foul.
Steve Delabar might be done tonight. You see him on the bench. They've got Osuna warming up. Delabar an inning and 2/3 out of that bullpen.
No swing, says Bruce Dreckman on that check. Like a big sweeping slider that he was able to hold back on.
Yeah, he came with the fastball first pitch, and Martin checked his swing on that one and dribbled the ball foul. That time he swept that slider away from him. He's trying to jump out there right now, trying to hit it instead of letting it come to him.
Boy, that looked like it was real borderline on the inside that time. Blue Jays haven't been able to muster much offensively. Popped up on the infield. Pierce, the second baseman, calls for it. The Blue Jays go down in order in the top of the 8th. They trail 5-2. Now it's time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zong. Jumped out to a 3-0 lead with a pair of home runs in the first inning. And Pat, when you look at the top 5 batters in the Blue Jays lineup, they've come to the plate 18 times tonight. They have a walk and a single. Ubaldo Jimenez has done a great job of setting the tone for the Orioles.
In a whole boatload of strikeouts, the front part of that lineup for the Toronto Blue Jays. He just pitched them tough. He has taken that fastball and he has pounded it outside part of the plate against him all night long. He's used his splitter when he needed to. He's been outstanding, and that's what you want to do. You put the best players, the best hitters at the top part of that lineup. You got to, if you want to win the game, you got to go through them, and he's done a good job tonight.
The youngster Roberto Osuna takes over after Steve Delabar pitched an inning and 2/3. Osuna will pitch the 8th here. He'll face Pierce, Hardy, and David Lowe. 6, 7, and 8 in the Orioles lineup. Osuna has done a good job in his first taste of big league baseball. He has pitched with a lot of confidence.
Yes, he has. Last pitched a couple of days ago. Looks like he's been a 10-year veteran when he takes them out. Cool and calm, under control, uses his fastball. And he's got a good one.
What we have seen that we didn't see in spring training is the improvement of his breaking ball. He had a great fastball and a good changeup in spring training, but now the slider is becoming a very reliable pitch.
Well, he was a starter in the minor leagues, and a starter needs 3 pitches to get through at least 6 or 7 innings of work. So it's not like he's a guy who just comes in and throws it as hard as he can and then pulls the string with a changeup. He's got all of them.
This is popped up. Goins, the shortstop, backs up on the outfield grass and makes the catch. 1 down. We'll be right back here tomorrow night as game 2 takes place. It'll be Chris Tillman for the Orioles against Mark Burley. Burley won his 200th career win right here in this ballpark in April. And he has a 4-2 record for the season. Coming off a win, Chris Tillman has struggled early in the season. He's 2-4 with a 6.25 earned run average. They need him to get going the same way the Blue Jays need Burley.
Well, he's their number 1. I mean, right now, Ubaldo Jimenez is pitching like their number 1. But they need Chris Tillman. He's a guy who has done it in the past.
J.J. Hardy gets beat with that fastball. It is 0-2. Ground ball up the middle. Goins from behind second throws on the money. Another nice play by Ryan Goins at shortstop.
He has been outstanding at shortstop, showing the range to his left and then calmly catching the ball. He knows he doesn't have to be in a hurry here. Spins and fires a strike across the diamond for the out. Showing some great range and a very accurate arm. Came up as a shortstop, played some second base for the Blue Jays, and here takes away a hit from Hardy.
He made it look easy. This is David Lowe. He is 1 for 1. He also got hit by a pitch. Jose Reyes is with the ball club, getting healthier, and hopefully he's getting closer to a potential rehab assignment. Oh, and 2 to David Lowe. Strike 3, delayed call. He called him for the swing. Osuna with a good inning. He retires the 3 he faces here in the 8th. We'll go to the 9th. Encarnacion, Smoke, and Colabello. The scheduled batters. Zach Britton, the closer, on. The show prior to the game, PlayStation provided us with a prediction of who they thought the Blue Jays player of the game would be tonight. They selected the DH, Edwin Encarnacion.
Because he has been very hot with the bat, they figured he would go 2 for 3 with a couple of RBIs. I don't know if they took into consideration who he was facing tonight. Ubaldo Jimenez was lights out once again, shutting down Edwin. Edwin coming into this at-bat 0 for 2 with a walk.
The simulation is powered by MLB 15, the show. Baseball is better only on PlayStation. the closer into the ball game for the Orioles.
This is Zach Britton, his 13th game of the season. He's 6 for 7 in saves. With a 150 earned run average, he comes right after those hitters with a good fastball with outstanding movement.
Edwin is 0 for 2, a couple of strikeouts and a walk.
There's that sinker right there. You think it's right in the middle of the plate. You start your swing and you just get the top of it.
Danny Valencia has come out on deck. He will bat for it. Justin Smoke, who started at first. Well, here's an example of a guy that was a starter throughout his career, and it didn't really work out for him. He injured himself as a starter, came back working out of the bullpen. Initially as a 7th, 8th inning guy, and then he won the closer's role, and he has run with it.
And he's found his fastball again. Throwing hard with great movement. Not a lot of tricks from Zach Britton. Give me one inning, give me everything you got.
Trying to show nodding in agreement. He strikes out. Now for a preview of what's coming up next on Sportsnet Central. Here's Ken Reed in Ivanka Osmak. Thank you very much, Ivanka. Of course, that's big news in the sports world. Tom Brady and his suspension, and they'll break it all down for you after this ball game. Jose Bautista did not start in this game tonight. This is Danny Valencia batting for Justin Smoke. The Blue Jays are down by 3, so it doesn't make any sense to waste Bautista, hopeful of an opportunity to get him to the plate representing the tying run.
Representing the tying run or the winning run. In one swing of the bat to maybe win the ball game for you. But with Zach Britton throwing those types of sinking fastballs, you see it 96 miles an hour with movement. 37 saves last year for Britton. He didn't become a closer till May sometime, like the middle of May for the Orioles, and finished with 37. 4th in the American League last year.
The top 5 in the batting order have been stymied dramatically by the Orioles tonight. Strike 3 call, and Valencia wants to know where it was. Back-to-back strikeouts for Britton. The Orioles have struck out 4 of the last 5 Blue Jay batters.
And all of the strikeouts in the first 5 batters for the Blue Jays. That's a fastball that pounds the inside part of the plate. 13 strikeouts tonight for the Oriole pitchers.
All coming to the 5 batters top of the order. Chris Colabello 1 for 2 with a walk. The bottom 4 in the Blue Jays lineup have had 12 plate appearances. They've reached base 7 times. Colabello is going to make it 8 times. His second hit of the night will quiet the crowd temporarily.
Stay hot. 3rd time that Colabello has reached base. He's not going to get beat by that fastball. Good at bat.
You get one more on, and Bautista will come to the plate. Kevin Pillar has been on base his last 2 times. He's doubled and reached on a fielder's choice. He scored both Blue Jays runs tonight. He knows what he's got to do. Got to get on base
any way you can.
Not a bad idea.
Nope.
Machado was deep at 3rd.
Any way you can. Right there. bunt for a hit, take one for the team, walk, single, anything.
Bautista loosening up. He is 1 for 5 against Britton. Anxious for an opportunity. There goes Colabello. It's bounced over Machado into left. Colabello will go to third. Pilar will stop at first. And Bautista is going to get his shot. Boy, the bottom four have been terrific. Jose Bautista did not start in this game, only because John Gibbons wanted to give him some time to rest. His numbers against Jimenez weren't good. He's 1 for 5 against Zach Britton.
And he's thinking of one thing right now: get Britton to get that ball up. They have one swing to try and tie this ball game.
First and third, 2 outs. Goes after the first pitch and chops it to third. Machado throws it in the dirt, and Davis scoops it. Oh, man. Zach Britton picks up the save. Davis picks up Machado, who threw it in the dirt. And the Blue Jays battled and got the tying run to the plate in the ninth.
They were in tough tonight against Ubaldo Jimenez, who picked up 9 strikeouts, and it came down to the last batter of the game. Again, the Blue Jays scratched